Today we're going to talk about the 5 simple ways to be happier in life. Hi, I'm Patty,
And I'm Mary.
and we're here today to talk about our Happiness and Health Secrets membership workbook podcast. I don't even know what we're calling this thing.
It's just all over the place at this point. But yeah, so 5 simple ways to be happier. Let's dive into that.
So, everyone wants a little more happiness in their life. I am a licensed therapist, and most days I talk to people about happiness and how to get more of it. So we're going to talk about 5 simple ways to do that today.
So why do you think that people are so obsessed with happiness? Like, why do you think that's the thing that everyone's talking about, though?
I think people experience a lot of sadness and they want the opposite, happiness. I also think happiness is something that people expect to have all the time, and this is also kind of not true. Like it can happen in bursts. It can happen for 5 minutes and go away, just like any other feeling.
Makes sense. So, all right. So, well, what are some ways that we can experience happiness throughout our day-to-day life? So, like if we're feeling down, like, oh, I'm just really bad mood right now. What can I do to turn that around and feel a little bit happier?
Yeah, so research shows that gratitude is actually one of the greatest ways to boost happiness. And that's as simple as sitting down and writing 3 things that you're grateful for. Some people have challenges with this. They don't really know what they're grateful for. And I mean, it could be as simple as I'm grateful for the coffee in my cup. Like it can be that simple. I'm grateful for that when I'm tired and not feeling too great.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that because that's what I do every morning. I have like a little gratitude journal practice thing that I do. I usually write 5 things I'm grateful for down though.
Sure. I mean, you could do 3 things and you could do it 5 times a day if you wanted to.
That'll add up for sure. Yeah, because it's tough to like keep things in perspective because we're in the now, but like not like in the past when I wanted where I am right now, like this was all I ever wanted. But now that I have it, I'm like, wow, like why am I not happy? So I don't know if other people experience that same thing, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. And then that kind of segues into the next thing, which is mindfulness. Um, Mindfulness is being in the present moment and enjoying the present moment. And that is literally what you had just said. Like sometimes you feel like you want more and you're looking for more in the future. But if we don't take for account what we have in the moment, it makes it really difficult to be happy because we're always
Yeah.
wanting more.
I,
Happiness
I,
is where's the
yeah,
happiness?
right.
Well, all these great things.
I always think about that scene from Ferris Bueller where they're like, if you don't stop and smell the roses every once in a while, you're gonna miss out, whatever the quote is. But like I was literally thinking about that yesterday and I was like looking out my window, like looking at the trees, changing the colors, the leaves on the trees. And I'm like, this is literally from that movie right now.
Yeah. And one of the characters in that movie actually was suffering from depression. So really interesting that you bring that up.
Yeah.
All
Very
right.
good point.
I think that was the whole purpose of the day off, right? To get out of depression. I can't remember the character's name.
Uh
His friend. Oh,
Cameron.
Cameron. Yes. All right. So being mindful, staying in the present moment, and then also sometimes meditation can help. Just keep focusing on deep breathing and just focusing on that instead of focusing on sadness or focusing on any other emotion that you might be experiencing. Just having that very experiential moment can help you transition from a thinking to an action. And an action can make you feel a little bit better.
Right. Yeah. I always try to, like, when I'm meditating or trying to be mindful, just like try to push all the thoughts out of my head and just like focus on my breathing and like what's around me and what's going on, like living in the moment a little bit more.
For sure. And it definitely helps with stress reduction as well. And sometimes stress causes unhappiness. This is a
Yeah.
stressful life, man.
They say that you're less stressed. You don't age as fast as someone
Ooh.
that is stressed. So maybe that's why we're like look a little younger. Everyone's like, "Are you 17?" Nope, I'm not 17. I'm like 30. So thanks for the compliment though.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a
Um,
lot of positive benefits of meditation. Looking younger, reducing stress, having a greater sense of well-being.
Probably sleep too, right? Resting.
For sure. Yeah. You reduce your stress level, you'll be able to sleep better. Improve focus and concentration. It's another good one. Um, yeah, it's just a lot of good ones. All right. So that's meditation.
So we're
Mindfulness.
on tip number 3
Run
for
meditation and mindfulness were scrunched together because they're very connected. So you can do both. You can do a mindful meditation if you wanted to, where if you could do it with anything. I have actually a whole book of different types of meditations. There's sipping your coffee. It's kind of cool. Brushing your teeth. Interesting. Interesting.
wow.
Anything. You can do anything. You
Never
want
thought about it like that. Like every single moment that it's like a mundane moment, like folding your laundry, you could just be
to.
there in the present moment, just focusing on your breath. How many times a day do you do things like that? And then how many extra meditations are you doing every
There's a lot
single
of,
day? Crazy.
yeah, there's a lot of moments where I feel like people kind of like snap out of the like glazed over look and they're like, wow, I just wasn't paying attention at all. Like, how did I get from one point to the next point? Like, this happens when people drive, right? So I actually make it a point to be mindful when I drive. So I can be there in the present, know how I got from point A to point B. Similar
Interesting.
to life. Similar to life. All right, so let's move on to number 3. So number 3 is checking in with yourself in terms of your mood and your energy. The greatest way I do this is I say, how am I doing today? I mean, or you could just use, our workbook and it has a little picture of a little energy bar and a little faces for the mood. Um, but
Some
if you
people
have
might
the
not even
workbook,
think about it, but I find like throughout the day, like if I'm very irritable that day, I'm like, oh, like I'm being so like snippy at people. Like, what can I like if I had started my day maybe like checking in with myself, like, oh, today I feel a little off. Like maybe I gotta be a little more patient, like understanding with people. I wouldn't have snapped at like my husband or my dad or whoever. So like I could see the value in that.
I think we have opportunities built in, opportunities every day to check in with ourselves. The first one is when we wake up. How am I feeling? What's my energy like? Maybe like get out of the sleep mode a little bit before you check the energy, but like, yeah. And then if you have a break at like work time, if it's lunch, that's a good time to check energy again. And then like before you go to bed.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And energy changes based on the things that you're doing throughout the day. Like if you work out, your energy can increase. If you rest or take a break, also helpful for energy. If you sleep, this is why we sleep.
Yeah. There's a you need the energy reboost with those things every day. Like I know I exercise every day and it helps my energy incredibly. Like if I wake up snippy or whatever, like I gotta go work out. Sorry. Sorry, husband. I gotta go work out.
There's a
And
lot of
then I feel
positive
better.
hormones that happen when you exercise, and a lot of those are like, especially with stress reduction. So it helps with happiness as well. So, and I think people think exercise and they think, well, I got to go run on the treadmill for 30 minutes. And this is not, no, even 5 minutes of walking can be helpful.
Right. Especially an outdoor walk.
Yeah.
If the weather permits.
Yeah.
With the sunshine in your face and getting that vitamin D. That
Yeah. They actually say that you're supposed to like stand in the sun for like 10 minutes in the morning, and it will help your energy and mood as well.
Yep. I could see that. That would be something that like wakes me up. Like when it's dark out in the morning, this time of year, it's like 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and it's still pitch black out, and you're like, I don't want to get up. Like if the sun was out, I'd be up, like
Mhm.
ready to go. But it's just so much harder when it's pitch black out there.
Yeah. I mean, and then standing in front of the sun is sort of like, it could be a mindfulness or a meditation as well. All right. Very connected to the second tip that we had. All right. Should we move on to tip number 4?
Sure.
Okay. So tip number 4 is growth. So growth is having goals and working towards them. It gives us our life purpose. This one is I feel like is a challenge for a lot of people. I often ask people when they come into my office, what are your goals? And it's a challenge for people to answer. Actually, the number one thing that I hear is, I want to be happy. And I say, what is happiness to you?
Yeah.
Is different for everyone.
I work with a lot of business owners, and it's the same thing. They might have a goal, but it's a generic goal. Like, oh, I want to make more money. Well, if your goal is not specific, it's going to be very hard to reach the goal. If you're not clear and have clarity on it, it's going to be very hard. Like, want to tell the story about meeting Taylor Swift?
Oh yeah. So I've been manifesting trying to meet Taylor Swift, the international icon Taylor Swift. And so maybe it was like 2 weeks ago at this point, 3 weeks ago, I met Taylor Swift at a softball camp at my college. I coach at University of St. Joseph, and we had a clinic, and Taylor Swift was there. But it was not the international icon. It was a player who was 18 years old who was interested at the school. That was so funny. Name Taylor Swift.
Yeah, which brings us back to the point where you need to have goals, but they need to be specific so that you can actually achieve them, right? Because and manifest, like the law of attraction said, like if you're not very specific with what you want, you're gonna get it, but it's not gonna be exactly what you want because you're not specific enough.
Right. I want to make more money. Well, you made $5 more this week. Is that what you wanted?
Yep.
Yeah, you made more money.
I want to make $1 million. Okay, well, if you work and you make 50K a year in 20, whatever the math is, 20 years, you'll have $1 million, right?
Mhm.
You made $1 million. So
You did it. Right. So it gets specific. $1 million in 12 months. That's a different goal.
Yeah.
So, and then in order to think about your goals, you also have to have values. Like what's important to me? Like some things are important and they're not like as tangible. So relationships are important to me. So how do I have a goal for my relationship? We have to like break it down a little bit. So like making sure to spend time with your significant other, or making sure to go and hang out with your family one time a week or once a month or whatever it is, or call them on the phone.
Yeah, every like Wednesday or something. I know for me, for my husband and I told him I want to at least have one date night a week where we're like out of the house, like alone.
Relationship experts say that's the greatest for a marriage anyway, so I would recommend it. All right. So
Oh, one more thing about growth though, like having these goals, the reason it's important is because if you find yourself not happy and like just struggling and like stuck in a rut, like having goals gives you a sense of purpose, which provides you with that like happiness and fulfillment, like you're working towards something. So at least when I find that I have goals and I have specific goals, and every day I wake up, I'm working on those goals. So like I find like just more joy in my life from having that set up.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah. And then the last thing for the 5 ways to be happier is having positive relationships with others. And then there's this piece of like not comparing your relation or yourself to others, because we can fall in that trap really easily.
Ooh, we know this one, don't we? Being twins, always a competition.
Yeah, as twins, you grow up and you're next to each other your whole lives, and
You literally look the exact same way, and people are like, "Oh, they're just the same."
people consider you to be the same person and expect you to have the same, I don't know, what am I trying to say? The same
Personalities, goals, likes, dislikes,
achievements. I'm trying to say
yeah,
achievements. Yeah,
achievement,
yeah.
all of the above.
So we're forced in comparison as twins, but sometimes when we're friends with people, let's say most people are not twins, right? So let's say if we're friends with people, it's easy to look at your friend and say, well, why am I not in their position? They have 500K in their 401K, and I have this much, and I'm like, I'm not in the same spot as them. It's very easy to do this. I always say it's better to compare yourself to yourself. So trying to be better than you were yesterday, 1% better today than you were yesterday. That is a very softball coach thing to say.
Ooh, it's also golf related. So like I find with golf, I'm like, oh, like I'm not as good as that person, but like it really doesn't matter. It's like how good am I versus myself, because it's my handicap, not their handicap. You
Right.
know,
I mean, you can
terminology.
compare yourself to the best golfer in the world, and that really sucks because maybe you don't put the same effort in or the same amount of time into it as
Right.
that person does.
That's their full-time job, maybe, that they're out every day hitting hundreds of shots, practicing all day long, and you just
Or
don't
maybe
have
that's
enough.
not your goal. Maybe that's not your
Yeah.
goal, but you want to still do well. And that's tough because you have to put the time into something that you want to do well. So positive relationships, that's part of that. So being supportive of your friends and making sure you make time for your friends as well, which is challenging in this busy world.
Yes, it is. I struggle to hang out with friends a lot. I don't. It's tough to even have friends as a as a
Well,
working
it feels
working
like
adult.
you have to hang out with your significant other, and then you have to hang out with their friends, and then you have to hang out with
Your
your parents,
family.
and then your siblings, and then your cousins, and then is there any time left for A, yourself, and A, other people?
Yeah. Right.
Sometimes there isn't.
Yeah.
And having time for yourself is probably the most important thing.
Very true.
All right. So we went over the 5 simple ways for a happier life. And most of these things can be found in our workbook, Happiness and Health Secrets Workbook. If you're interested in purchasing, there's a website. We'll throw the link in there.
You can go to www.happinessandhealthsecrets.com/workbook if you want it. We have a special going on. $3 and you can get the ebook version with 5 free gifts. And then if you want the hard copy of it shipped to your house, you can also get that. But there's gonna be extra fee for that. So yeah.
And then we also have our membership, which is aligned to the workbook. And if you're interested in that, check out our site.
Or reach out to us. You can email us at support@happinessandhealthsecrets.com. Or
Nice.
moment-to-moment-health@gmail.com. Either one.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm Patty.
I'm Mary.
And this is our podcast that we don't have a title for yet. Happiness and Health Secrets Podcast.
Or moment-to-moment health.
Podcast. Yes. And we'll see you soon.